Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel's for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So as I go through this video, if you have no idea what I'm talking about and are interested in learning more, I put out a massive article on Medium. Check that out. This week I put out a Brave New Coin article on Ethereum as usual. Try to do a Bitcoin Ethereum every week, once a week. I'll be talking about some of that stuff. So let's get to some charts. Overall, Ethereum is a buy and hold immediately just throughout 2018 based on the current technicals. That may change, I don't know. The highest time frame I feel comfortable assessing things from is the 2-day. The weekly, you kind of don't have enough info yet. You need like multi-year info that isn't really there yet for Ethereum. And that's fine. It doesn't really matter. So I just stick to the 2-day, in my opinion. Use whatever you want, I don't care. What I'm showing here was a ascending triangle that had a strong bullish bias that ended up breaking up, hit its target, and now what you're seeing is bullish continuation based on the cloud, in my opinion. So you can see we've had the cross recross. So cloud wanted you to get in at 280, something like that, and it went up, it went down, it went sideways, and eventually it went to 800, which was the measured move and fib extension target. And now it's just ripping past 1000, currently sitting at the psychological support of 1000. Very similar to Bitcoin's psychological support of 10,000. Now, they are psychological supports because people like to put bids and asks around whole numbers, okay? That's just a bias of people. That's why they're psychological. So what else am I seeing? Here's RSI. Again, it's held above the 50, much like Bitcoin's weekly, since breaking the ascending triangle. So roughly, it started, there was actually a B-band breakout where I flipped to Ethereum because of this at that point, which happened around here, and that's when it bounced off the 50. So it's all in bull territory. If it ever drops below the 50, you can say, all right, there's probably other warning signs here that the trend is nearing an end. This is on the 2-day. Again, so the trend is nearing an end, or there's something going on. The other thing, the Stoke, it's crossing, it's doing something, it's dancing around at the bottom. There isn't necessarily a long entry signal based on the Stoke alone. What you want to see is a cross of the Stoke at the bottom and then breaking the plane of 20, okay? You'll see that over and over again. You saw it here, it crossed and then did some other stuff, but it crossed and broke the plane, okay? Bullish, blue over red's what you want to see, broke the plane. Now, in this case, there was a greater force at work, okay? For me, in my head, when I'm looking at everything, even cloud, chart patterns supersede almost everything. Why? Because it's typically, when you're getting a chart pattern, you're getting a pattern of consolidation. Almost always, you're going to see a descending volume profile, which I think you did in this case very strongly. I don't have it on here, but the point is, when you're consolidating, the oscillators are going to look goofy, okay? This, vacillated around, perambulated around the 50, was it bullet, was it bearish? No, it was above the cloud. So it's really hard to judge oscillators when things are consolidating, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure there's special rules for looking at oscillators when price is consolidating. I don't really pay attention to that. Why? Because I just use the chart pattern. It's just easier. So again, chart pattern, blah, blah, blah. It's had support tests at the 2-day Kijun, and it's currently kind of stuck in between pivots and psychological supports. Nothing too interesting, in my opinion, based on ETHUSD anyway. So that's the 2-day. This is the daily. Again, ascending triangle, Kijun support test over and over and over, and it's actually held above the 50. The 200 is essentially the level of the cloud. Not too interesting. Again, it's just a buy and hold. There's nothing you should be doing or looking for. Now, if this TK crosses bearish, that's an exit signal. If it breaks this horizontal, this is I don't have it on here, but it's a fractal stop. So if it breaks 900, that's an exit signal. But the problem with these stop losses on Ethereum is there are just such emotional pullbacks, just heart-wrenching like Brian Kelly said the other day on CNBC, shoe puking pullbacks, where if you're using stops appropriately as you should be, you're just going to get wrecked every time anyway. So it's really hard to trade this other than just buy and hold, honestly, until things roll over on a higher time frame. But it's nowhere near that. It certainly might just go sideways and dip below the cloud again, whatever. But currently, just if you're holding, in my opinion, again, this is not financial advice, and I don't like Ethereum. I'm the least fan of Ethereum. Okay, it's continuation at the moment. And as far as the current pullback, this is a 4-hour. Much like Bitcoin, you're getting an Adam Eve bottom forming. Super duper nice descending volume profile here. What you're going to see is a break. If this is real, if this pans out as you assume it will, based on what's formed so far. Now the entry does not occur until you break the horizontal on volume. Okay, so if this is real, it's going to end up breaking 1150, whatever it is, with a huge candle. Typically, that's confirmation. So how you want to play that is up to you. That's what you're looking for the chart pattern anyway. Now, along with the chart pattern, there's also cloud signals, none of which currently tell you to be long, interestingly enough. These will start flipping as this pattern, should it be real, starts to play out. So price is not above cloud. Cloud itself is red, so it's not bullish, it's bearish. Bullish TK cross, no, it's still bearish. Lagging span is here, so it's below price and cloud. So these are the two things to look for on low time frames for ETH USD. Pretty straightforward. Assume continuation. It looks fine. It's a buy and hold. This could go south easily, but it looks okay for now. This could be a giant bear flag as well, which is always interesting when you get this first massive dip down and then the Eve is diminutive, and then you're like, is this a triangle here, or is this a chart pattern? Or the flag would tell you continuation, bearish continuation. The Adam Eve tells you bullish reversal. So what are you gonna do? That's why I like cloud, just to look for confluence, and as always, just look for the volume. Okay, so that's ETH USD. In my opinion, technically speaking, pretty straightforward. Not super exciting. Not a lot going on. That's fine. This stuff isn't always going to be exciting or like a puzzle trying to figure stuff out. It's just like continuation. Blah. Okay. So here is ETH BTC. Various people had this chart before me. I was just sort of echoing what they were showing in a different way. People giving me a lot of hate for this. Got a lot of hate mail. Whatever. Again, I don't care. I'm just analyzing a chart. Okay. I don't care if it's Ethereum or corn futures or whatever. So what I'm showing here is a technical pattern that looks like a continuation of a test of this diagonal zone, which would absurdly bring ETH to 0.5. Okay. I don't know on what planet that would happen. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's some other timeline. I don't know. But what I'm showing here is Adam Eve, and then bounces around over and over again. And you can see we actually didn't even get an Eve here. It just kept going. Currently sitting around 0.1. So the upside for this remains enormous. Football field size, should it return to the target, this diagonal target. It's probably like halfway there as far as the time consideration is concerned. Maybe a little before halfway there. So, it might go down, I might go back up, whatever. But the point is, that's sort of the target-ish, 0.5. Okay, so again, I think ETH BTC is a little more interesting technically. You're seeing a little more stuff to think about here. Here's a 2-day Poloniex. I like Poloniex to look at ETH BTC. I think that they have the cleanest volume, just like historically. After the Bittrex thing, stuff got fractured a little more, but overall, I like Poloniex. So here's the 2-day 5200. Okay, bull, that's an entry. And then it started breaking the 50. You're getting a descending triangle. It's going down, whatever. You're expecting bearish continuation here in parallel or opposite of the bullish continuation of an ascending triangle. Just an easier way to remember that. So it's going down, it's searching for a bottom. Forms what I'm going to call a diamond bottom. At the time, that's what I called it as. It happened to be whatever it is and bounced up great. So it again, we're getting a bullish 5200 just like here. So it says we're at the beginning of something, and it's currently in between just like the middle of the road of some pivots. Okay, that's the 2-day. Not too exciting, but interesting to look at, again, at high time frames. Here's the daily, and initially I was like, this bounce really doesn't make any sense, but you know, technically it's like 50% of this, and it's sort of where this stuff happened. I mean, it's not super great to look at. Once it broke this level, you can see it just capitulated, right? And there's this massive selling emotion, whatever. Okay, great. So again, you're seeing 5200 cross in between, middle of the road. It looks sort of sideways. It looks like it's trying to triangle as far as like a bullish continuation pattern. This might be a flag, maybe not. What do I do when I'm on the middle of the road, the fence, so that I go to a lower time frame? So let's go to the daily again. This is cloud now. So what the cloud is showing me is immediately I see the TK lines being super separated like this. And this is what's known as a C-clamp. You'll see one here. You know, price is even way over the Tenkan. It's certainly over the Tenkan here. This just says it's gone up very quickly and then gone sideways. When you see that, you're saying to yourself, it's probably going to pull back over continuation here most of the time. That's what this is showing you. This shows me I don't want to go long here because it's probably going to pull back at least to the Tenkan, most likely somewhere to the Kijun. Now this can pop up obviously as time goes on. To not be confluent of that is this Stoke, which is crossing at the bottom, which screams continuation. It hasn't broke 20 yet, so it can just like range in here, but it wants to go up. RSI is at the top, but it can also range up here. Again, oscillators aren't my favorite thing to talk about, just too much interpretation, but Cloud is saying it's gone up too quick, it needs to pull back. That's on the daily. Here's the 12-hour. Now, my favorite sideways indicator is Bollinger Bands. What they're showing is price bouncing down from the 20 MA for several days, and then breaking the 20 MA and sort of still squeezing. This is actually one of the tightest squeezes on the 12-hour you can see on the chart. The other thing about this is volume's consolidating this whole time, super tight. So what I expect to see is a breakdown. I expect that, regardless of where this is at the moment. This is leaning bullish, but I still expect a breakdown. You're going to see a volume confirmation. It's going to break the trend of descending. You know, it's going to be higher. If it breaks this fractal level, that'll be another sign it's ready to go down. This is a pivot support. This is Kijun support on the daily. It's already broke this fractal. So you could say if you were short, you should close your short because it's broken the bull fractal as far as a fractal stop is concerned. But I'm more concerned with the Bollinger Bands as a whole. So when they start expanding, when a price closes outside of the bands, that's step one. Along with that, you should see volume. And again, I'm expecting this to go down. Not all the time, but typically you see a fake out and then a breakout with Bollinger Bands. I think that might be one of the cases here. I don't know. So here's the 12-hour club. Again, you're seeing a semi C-clamp here, pivot support, Kijun, flat Kumo. So this will be the target around 0.06, probably 0.063, something like that. That's all I have for ETH. Let me know what you think. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.